evening. Welcome to this edition of Northeast Diary. Here we bring you the latest developments from India's unexplored Northeast region. Friends, can you feel the Christmas cheer? It's Christmas Eve and today we will tell you how the states of Northeast are gearing to celebrate the festival. As the season for Christmas approaches, authorities across the region are mulling over how families should celebrate the largest festival of the Christians and welcome the New Year 2021 while the COVID-19 pandemic rages on. The Meghalaya government and its citizens may have put their earnest efforts to curb the spread of the disease to a certain extent as compared to other neighbouring states, but what are they going to do when the state goes for Christmas celebration? Our Shillong correspondent Rustam takes a look at the vibe ahead of the festival.
Majority of Meghalaya citizens are Christians and Christmas is one of their largest festivals. For many years, faithful Christians have been celebrating Christmas in its most magnificent manner. But this year, thanks to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the celebrations will be different in all manners. Owing to the present COVID-19 scenario, the state government issued a fresh set of protocols stating that there will be no carol processions in the run-up to 25th December this year. Caroling may be done within the church premises or designated halls and in a localized manner as per the social distancing norms. Community feasts and different cultural programs, which is one of the most important features of Christmas in Meghalaya, have also been prohibited by the government in view of the COVID-19 situation. Father John Madhur, administrator of Catholic Archdiocese of Shillong, while talking to All India Radio, shared his view how the Catholic faithful are planning to celebrate Christmas this year.
This year, our celebration of Christmas would be different from the past years. Due to the pandemic, there are a lot of restrictions so that we could prevent the spread of this disease. So this year, our celebration would be very much sober in the externals, but certainly more intense in the spiritual. We would focus more of our celebration on Jesus Christ and His Mass, from where we get the word Christmas. So our celebration would be Jesus-centered, Christ-centered. And our message to all our friends, to all our faithful would be this. This year we join hands with all those people who have suffered from this pandemic and also for those frontliners who fight against this disease. We wish them God's blessing, God's health, good health.
The state may be well prepared to celebrate this year's pandemic-ridden Christmas. A resident of Shillong shared how he is planning to celebrate Christmas with his family.
As an ordinary citizen of the state and also as a Christian, I personally would like to celebrate this Christmas in a different way. Normally, during Christmas, we celebrate a lot of external activities like singing and dancing, music and merrymaking. But in this situation where we are facing with the pandemic, not allowed to move freely, in my opinion is that we should do a lot of charity work, particularly in this situation where people are rendered unemployed, people are rendered with poverty, people are rendered with sicknesses.
This is Rustam for Northeast Diary from AIR News, Shillong.
In Mizoram, the merry spirit of Christmas has filled the air everywhere. When Christmas comes, people of Mizoram are filled with the spirit of love and cheer. Christmas has always been celebrated with pomp and vigor. Church carols, community feasts and church programs are what people always look forward to throughout the year. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, something seems to be missing this time. Here is a report from our Aizawl correspondent Irene.
This year, COVID-19 pandemic has dampened Christmas celebrations all over the world, and Mizoram is also no exception. On this Christmas Eve, people's hearts are filled with religious fervor and excitement. Churches are decorated with Christmas themes with limited lighting and opened for anyone to pray individually. There will be no midnight mass at churches today, nor there will be any community feasts and carols at night. However, prayers and Christmas carols will be conducted as family circles, and few will be made and aired by local cable TV channels. Pastor Reverend H. Larin Sanga of Aizawl Presbyterian Church appeals to people.
The world has been greatly affected by COVID-19 pandemic, but believers of Christ should take this opportunity to have a stronger and greater faith in Him who rules upon us. Mizoram is a state in India where a majority are Christians, but it seems that we too could not celebrate Christmas like the other years. We have to stay confined in our homes. Let us all take this special time to give thanks to God for giving us His Son, who gives us eternal life in the confines of our homes.
Christmas time also witnesses charity works. An NGO, Kodnark, has started an online drive called New Sweater Donation Drive to help orphans and vulnerable children, wherein many people are sponsoring 300 to 500 rupees each. Project manager of Kodnark, Mrs. Vanal Mangaizwali, said,
As winter has arrived in Mizoram, many of the families find it hard and difficult to buy warm clothes for their families apart from their daily rations. So Kodnark developed a new sweater donation drive in which any person can sponsor a child with a sweater worth rupees 300 to 500.
At the same time, business is badly hit this Christmas due to the pandemic, with the markets looking dull, waiting for customers. The owner of Joy's Shopping Center in Aizawl, Mrs. Zorini, said,
Most of the churches are closed. People do not go out, so no need to buy new clothes. But then winter wears are really in demand, and sale of people also shop for Christmas decorations. Other than essential commodities, sale of items has gone down almost 50%.
The state government has issued separate guidelines for this Christmas celebration sans all of its festivities. The government has also banned firecrackers and sky lanterns to curb pollution and not to aggravate respiratory problems of COVID-19 patients. For Northeast Diary, this is Irene from Aizawl.
Spoke to a cross-section of people from Nagaland on how they are celebrating Christmas amid the pandemic, including Pastor Temjen Mongba Sempo, our Baptist Church, Agri Colony, Kohima, and lots of children. Let's hear it from them.
Despite the pandemic, the spirit of Christmas remains the same. Many have adapted to the new normal, with several churches in Nagaland will be delivering Christmas sermons virtually. This pandemic has also brought families closer and having to spend quality time with near and dear ones. Pastor of our Baptist Church, Agri Colony in Kohima, Temjen Mongba Sempo shares,
Almost all the churches are closed down as of now. But I think the Christmas spirit remains the same. The churches are closed, but then the hearts cannot be closed. And so the Christmas message, as compared to last year, it's just the physical church that's closed, but our hearts is open. And I believe that this Christmas will be even more very meaningful for believers. And I believe that the church will also at the same time do justice by delivering very good sermons and messages during the Christmas Eve as well as Christmas Day. And I believe that though from home, they will be able to unite together in heart when they come together in fellowship through the YouTube messages, as well as it will also be a very special time because unlike the other years, the students who are staying outside, they are, because of this pandemic, back home. And therefore, it has given, in fact, an opportunity for families to have a very special Christmas together. Christmas is going to be a family thing.
This year, amid the COVID-19 pandemic, Kohima All Baptist Church is one such organization who has done a commendable initiative by lighting the hearts of the town at Old MLA Junction in Kohima. The gesture such as this has also warmed the hearts of people. Since the dawn of Christmas season, this has become a major attraction to the extent that some children's greatest wish is to see the lights that have been put up. Let's hear what Christmas means and how people in Nagaland are celebrating the season of joy, love and peace at this time of COVID-19 pandemic.
Christmas to me is a time of joy, time of giving, a time to celebrate with friends, families, having a good time, helping others in need. And it's a time where we reflect upon the past years, how it has been. That's what Christmas is to me. My plans for Christmas, definitely it's changed from last year. We need to stay indoors as much as possible, less contact with people, less gatherings, less festivities and all. So there will be lesser of celebrations and going out and meeting people.
With a lot of COVID-19 restrictions also being lifted, people from remote villages of Nagaland are also making their way to towns like Kohima and Dimapur to shop for the holiday season. It is business as usual in the marketplace, however, adhering with COVID-19 protocols. This year, however, with the prevailing COVID-19 situation, the traditional way of celebrating Christmas may not be the same. A lot of pre-Christmas celebrations that are observed by different organizations prior to Christmas are not being held this year.
I think celebration this time has also acquired a new meaning in the sense that we are now not able to have the feast or the usual bigger get-togethers that we have, or even community fellowship. The pandemic has put restrictions on a lot of these things, and also we usually conduct pre-Christmas celebration even in our locality as well. The previous years it has been happening, but sadly this year we are planning to cancel the program also, because as Christians, and we also have the responsibility to be a responsible citizen.
In the Christian majority state like Nagaland, Christmas is always celebrated in solemn religious fervor, marked with prayers, special services, holy mass and community feast. The COVID-19 pandemic may alter a few things, but the true spirit of Christmas remains in the hearts of the Nagas.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
In Tripura, one of the important festivals is Christmas. Though the Christian population in the state is low, Christmas is celebrated by the people in general in a festive spirit. However, among all places, the Mariamnagar Church draws a huge crowd, and interestingly, more than 1 lakh people belonging to different faiths throng there every year on the 25th of December. Our Agartala correspondent Reena reports on Mariamnagar Christmas celebration.
Mariamnagar is located only 12 km away from the capital city Agartala. This small hamlet is mainly inhabited by only 60-odd Portuguese families. According to the historical chronicles, the ancestors of these Portuguese people mainly migrated from the then East Bengal and worked under the artillery of the Tripura kings about 5 centuries back. The kings also provided them with land and settlement in the state. While the church was built there in 1937, the Mariamnagar started drawing huge crowd on Christmas since last 30 years for its spectacular lighting and cultural programs. On the holy day, apart from Christians, people from other faiths also visit to Mariamnagar Church to celebrate the day with spiritual fervor and merriment. Talking to AII News, Father Abraham gave a brief of Mariamnagar and Portuguese population.
It is the first mother church of the Tripura. And 1937, one priest was appointed here as a permanent priest. And 1939, this parish was erected as a parish, the first parish in Tripura. And by this time, the Catholic Church, the Catholic faith spread. Now, every year we will have the Christmas celebration. Is one of the most celebration in Mariamnagar as well as in Tripura. And many people, lakhs of people will gather here every year. And this year, because of the COVID, we are not able to arrange that mela. Only the prayers, whatever the necessary prayer are there, that will be arranged in the church.
The chairman of the Mariam Nagar Festival Organizing Committee and MLA Ratan Chakravarti said that
we have decided not to perform the Mela. Actually, the prayer will be there on 24th night. It will start, and the next very day at 10 a.m. we shall perform the cake cutting and other rituals, and prayer will be started at 8 a.m. The police will be there, the local volunteers will be there at the gate. Actually, only 50 people will be allowed inside the church, and 50 will wait outside the church. And after finishing their prayer, the next team will enter. We want this time people should share their joys sitting in the house and with the neighbors and their relatives, so long we are not get rid of this type of crisis.
The Christian followers and the local people said that Mariam Nagar Church will celebrate its Silver Jubilee next year, 2021. They believe that Mariam Nagar will then host a more gorgeous Christmas and a festival in the coming year. For Northeast Diary, this is Rina Nongmaitam from Agartala.
The women self-help groups have made a remarkable contribution in Assam under Assam State Rural Livelihood Mission, particularly during the COVID pandemic. Here is a report from our correspondent Manas Pratim Sarma.
While people are facing hardship in managing fruits and vegetables, they have produced local vegetables at Golaghat district. They have not only helped the people in getting their essential food items, but also increased their household income. The block program manager at West Golaghat Development Block, Gyandeep Nath, has said that
ASRLM primarily aims to mobilize rural women by forming self-help groups, village organizations and cluster-level federations, and further strengthening them by providing them various trainings. Currently, there are 1,602 SHGs, 94 VOs and 4 CLFs under Golaghat West Development Block. ASRLM ensures that the SHGs are financially provided revolving funds, community investment funds and bank loans with the help of banks. After being financially strengthened, SHGs have been able to take up various livelihood activities and expand their existing activities like rice farming, vegetable cultivation, piggery, goatery, poultry farming, duckery, mushroom cultivation and vermicompost. Also handloom, wooden handicrafts, tailoring, grocery shops, stationery shops, etc.
This is Manas Pratim Sarma for Northeast Diary from AR News, Golaghat.
Union Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports Kiren Rijiju flagged off the Brahmaputra Amantran Abhiyan, a river rafting expedition from Jeling in Upper Siang district in Arunachal Pradesh yesterday. A report from our Itanagar correspondent Rakesh Dole.
The river rafting expedition Brahmaputra Amantran Abhiyan, which started from Galing in Upper Siang district at the Indo-China border, will take the route along Siang River in Arunachal Pradesh and Brahmaputra in Assam and will terminate at Asamaralga in Mankacha district of Assam near Indo-Bangladesh border on January 21 next month. The expedition will cover a distance of 917 kilometers. It is being undertaken by NDRF, Brahmaputra Board and a group of scientists with the help of Government of Arunachal Pradesh and Assam. On the way, the team will navigate some of the most dangerous rapids of grade 5 and 6 in the Upper Siang River course with deep gorges and waterfalls. The Abhiyan will provide a good opportunity for the NDRF in research and creating awareness on the issue of environmental degradation along river sites through its objectives of preparedness of community against disaster, scientific monitoring and reporting of river water quality and flora and fauna. 2 NDRF battalions are involved in this Abhiyan to complete it in 3 legs. The first leg starting from Galing to Pasighat and the second is from Pasighat to Tezpur in Assam. The third phase will commence from Tezpur and finally will end on January 21 at Asamarelga in Mankacha district. Another team of NDRF will shadow the whole expedition throughout the route with all necessary rescue and medical support equipment. For Northeast Diary, this is Rakesh Dole, AIR News, Itanagar.
Mizoram has set a record of excellent management of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. The state has so far shown achievement in curbing the graph of spread of infection. The state, with a population of around 12 lakh, has recorded about 4,000 positive cases, with 92% of them recovered from the infection. The state is also the lowest in death cases. Today, in this episode of Northeast Diary, we have with us Mizoram Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. R. Lalthang Liana. We will hear from him the factors behind the success and strategies adopted by the state government. Let us go to our Aizawl correspondent Irene, who has interviewed Mizoram Health Minister.
Mizoram recorded its first COVID-19 case on 24th March this year, and the first death was recorded on 28 October, 6 months after the first positive case was found. As of today, the number of COVID tally reaches 4,049, with the incidence of death of 7 patients. Behind this, all credits may go to the state government and the civic bodies. In management of the pandemic in the state, Health Minister Dr. R. Lalthang Liana has spearheaded the fight against the pandemic. Sir, Mizoram was the first in the country to lock down the state due to COVID-19. Since then, there has been partial lockdown and other restrictions to flatten the curve. Sir, how good are these measures and how the restrictions are being obeyed by the people strictly?
We announced lockdown in the later part of March, and we are announcing lockdown well ahead of the national lockdown. That was the first lockdown, and after that, we announced partial lockdown and some restriction measures have been taken. These are very, very effective. That is why, as of now, we lost only 6 lives compared with other states. This is really a very significant achievement in COVID fighting. This is my comment. Now we are enforcing the no tolerance measures in the state.
Sir, more than 19,000 people have returned from different parts of the country, mainly hotspot areas of transmission. How is this problem being addressed?
There are 2 routes of entering to Mizoram. One is a flight, that means by air, and another one is by road from Kasar district of Silchar. And while entering to the state, we have the checkpoints. They are properly screened by a rapid antigen test and other tests. So after that, we contained them and we kept them in the quarantine facilities. And some are kept in the home isolation and some are kept in the community quarantine station. These are the measures, very, very important.
Now from circles, this is being reported that winter will see another higher wave of transmission in the country. What is your assessment?
I convened a meeting of state level and where the Honorable Home Minister also attended the meeting, and we are not going to impose lockdown as of now. Imposition of lockdown means depending on the circumstances, depending on the gravity of the situation. As of now, we are relatively comfortable with COVID-19. If there is some more cases, like 200 or 300 or more than 100, then definitely we'll take care of that.
The state government has perhaps some programs to bring back the health of the economy. Sir, if you can please highlight over this.
Under the leadership of the Chief Minister, all kind of measures have been taken now. And then during the lockdown, we allowed some laborers to work in isolated places. There are a lot of measures taken by the state government to minimize the loss of the economy in the state.
Sir, the opening of schools for the current session is postponed till the situation stabilizes. When do you expect the schools to open, and will there be more and more health guidelines for the students and teachers?
At least we have to wait for 1 month. Then let's see the condition of the COVID-19 pandemic. If the situation is conducive, then definitely we will be able to resume our education. But as of now, we are not going to, open a school. But even if we open a school, we will formulate a special SOP, standard operating procedure.
Lastly, the pandemic has given a big lesson to humanity. Though it has not been yet ended, we may have preparedness for such situations anytime in future. Can you tell me about such preparedness?
This is an important question, COVID fighting is something very different. We have the contingent plan. In the contingent plan, we have the manpower. That means human resource, like more than 900 people have been recruited from 4 different sectors temporarily. And another thing is we prepared for different medical equipments to fight the COVID. And as of now, if we have more positive cases in Mizoram, we could accommodate 2,500 positive persons in our different COVID care center. That is a well prepared that we have. But so far, as of today, we have hardly 200. So we are comfortable as of now.
We have learned that the state government has given permission to the private hospital and laboratories to conduct COVID-19 tests. Can you give us details?
We have given permission for 4 private hospitals. If they submit an application, then definitely after verification and all, then we granted. As of now, I think we granted 4 hospitals, like Ebenezer, Synod Hospital, Aizawl Hospital, like that,
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your valuable time. For Northeast Diary, this is Irene from Aizawl.
The third week of December marks the beginning of Losung or Namsung, the harvest festival of Bhutia and Lepcha communities in Sikkim. Our Sikkim correspondent, Namo Dikshit, shares more on this.
Losung or Namsung is the Sikkimese New Year, marking the end of the harvest season. Sikkimese Bhutias called it Losung while Lepcha celebrate Namsung. Although the almanac marks celebrations of 5 days starting from the 29th of the 10th month of the Tibetan lunar calendar, festivities go well beyond 15 days. The festival is celebrated by Sonampas or farmers who offer fruits and of crops to the god with a prayer for good harvest in the coming year. Sikkimese Bhutia and Lepcha household chosams or altars are decorated with traditionally prepared cookies and butter lamps, while family members wake up at the break of dawn to burn juniper or sang incense to please the guardian deity during the festival. Cultural expert, journalist and author Hisedi speaks about the festival.
Like most hill tribes, Bhutias are agriculturists whose festivals like Losung revolve around nature. With winter harvest collected and cash from cardamom or oranges ready, and as chill sets in, it is time for the farmers, who have been kept busy in the fields through the year, take a break for rituals and celebration. They join their families, relatives or friends and neighbors for picnic, eat, drink and make merry, partake in song and dance, try their skill at archery, enact dramas of gods and goddesses, of birds and animals, or even share the lores of the past with the youngsters. The festival reflects 2 dimensions in a Bhutia life, a break from their monotonous life, and while they celebrate, try at unknotting their rich cultural heritage, costumes, cuisines, legends and rituals. A feature of a monastery in every Bhutia village also gets witnessed during the eve of Losung in a ceremony called Gurtar, held in respective monasteries when the community participates with a share of the offerings. Worship for good health, well-being and prosperity for the year gone by, and also seek for an equally good year ahead.
Losung involves seeking blessings from the elderly at home, presenting gifts to seniors, visiting monasteries, and feasting. Festivities also go beyond household celebrations to mark the commencement of the new year for the Bhutia and Lepcha communities, observing traditional customs such as charm or masks and costume dance performances by monks at monasteries and archery competitions. With Saikat Sarkar, this is Namo Dikshit for Northeast Diary from AIR News, Sikkim.
And with that, we have come to the end of this edition of Northeast Diary. Do join us next week to hear our special year-end edition of this program from this enchanting part of India. Bye-bye.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a